Imagine a world where thought isn't just an internal whisper, but a tangible force, capable of reshaping reality. What if a relic from beyond our understanding landed on Earth, not with a bang, but with a silent hum, and began to listen? This isn't science fiction. It's the perplexing reality unfolding in a secluded lab in Buga, Colombia, where a mysterious alien orb reacts to human consciousness. 20 inches of seamless gunmetal alloy, no screws, no seams, no charging port, nothing. Yet it's quietly humming, light pulsing like it's got a heart. Why? Because the woman in the lab coat just thought the word peace. She didn't say it out loud, she just thought it. And the orb lit up like an old friend waving hello. We're told metal doesn't do that. That's biology's job, neurons firing, synapses crackling. But here we are, staring at a rock that answers thoughts. And the creepiest, most profound part, it's learning us. The journey into the unknown began not with a search for alien artifacts, but with a routine ecological survey. January 2025, Bogota researchers were mapping catfish populations in the wake of a devastating landslide, using advanced sonar to navigate the murky depths of the Cauca River. Their instruments, designed to chart aquatic life and riverbed topography, suddenly registered an anomaly. A perfect sphere, approximately 50 centimeters in diameter, sat incongruously on a bed of ancient basalt, as if deliberately placed. The initial drone claw, designed for geological sampling, attempted to lift it. The high tensile alloy snapped clean off, a testament to the object's inexplicable density. Then, as if by an unseen will, the river current shifted, and the sphere, suddenly light as a beach ball, rolled effortlessly into the drone's cargo net. The moment of retrieval was marked by a profound electromagnetic disturbance. Feed cut out for 12 seconds, static erupted, colors on the monitors went wild, then nothing. When the connection re-established, the drone had the orb secured inside, emitting a steady, resonant hum at precisely 432 Hz, a frequency often associated with natural healing and the heartbeat of the Earth in esoteric traditions. Coincidence, perhaps, or a deliberate, silent greeting from an intelligence beyond our comprehension. The scientific team, initially baffled by the object's anomalous properties, quickly shifted their focus from ecological research to an unprecedented investigation into what appeared to be an artifact of non-terrestrial origin. This was no longer about catfish, it was about understanding a fundamental challenge to our known laws of physics. Back at the secure, purpose-built laboratory, the initial phase of scientific inquiry began with standard material analysis. X-ray diffraction, CT scans, and electron microscopy were deployed, each designed to peel back the layers of this enigmatic object. Yet every test yielded the same perplexing result. The orb appeared to be composed of a single solid lattice of an alloy unknown to any terrestrial periodic table. It exhibited no discernible grain boundaries, no impurities, and no signs of manufacturing processes. It was as if it had grown organically, a perfect crystalline structure, threaded with what appeared to be fiber optic rivers, thinner than spider silk, yet radiating an internal luminescence. There were no welds, no joins, no evidence of assembly. This defied every principle of metallurgy and material science known to humanity. The first hint of its sentient, or at least reactive nature, came unexpectedly. A junior researcher, working late, left a complex Bach fugue, playing softly overnight. In the morning, the orb had rotated precisely 30 degrees on its pedestal, and the room was filled with the distinct, ozone-rich scent of fresh lightning. Security footage from the previous night revealed the astonishing truth. The second the music reached its crescendo, the sphere flared with an intense white light, then settled into a calm, pulsating teal. This wasn't a passive object, it was responding. From that moment, standard procedure was filed under "nice try," and the research protocol pivoted dramatically. The scientific purpose became clear: to understand the fundamental nature of this material, its energy source, and its inexplicable responsiveness, pushing the boundaries of physics, chemistry, and even biology. The next phase of investigation moved beyond passive observation to active engagement, focusing on the orb's apparent ability to process information. A linguist, Dr. Elena Petrova, was brought in. Her expertise in semiotics and cognitive linguistics deemed crucial. She sat 3 feet away from the orb, a highly sensitive microphone positioned to capture any subtle emanations, and began to read a carefully curated list of words: rose, knife, ocean, hate, mother. Each word, spoken with clear intent, elicited a distinct and immediate shift in the orb's internal light. Warm, vibrant gold for love, laughter, sunrise. A bruised deep purple for war, cancer, grief. The correlation was undeniable yet profoundly unsettling. Dr. Petrova, ever the scientist, attempted a control experiment, a subtle deception. She uttered the word love aloud, but simultaneously pictured a horrific car crash in her mind. The orb hesitated, its light flickering erratically, settling on a muddy, indistinct brown before returning to its baseline hum. It was a clear indication that its processing wasn't merely auditory, it was passing intent, perhaps even accessing the speaker's underlying emotional state. Petrova left the lab pale, her usual academic composure shattered. "It's not hearing us," she muttered, her voice barely a whisper. "It's hearing me." This revelation opened a new avenue of scientific inquiry. How does a non-biological entity interpret semantic meaning and emotional valence? Is it a form of advanced pattern recognition, or something far more profound, touching upon the very nature of communication and consciousness? The implications of the orb's apparent emotional sensitivity led to the involvement of a team of neuroscientists and psychologists. Volunteers, fitted with advanced EEG nets to monitor their brain activity, were subjected to a series of controlled emotional stimuli. The first task: recall their happiest memory. The orb's glow immediately mirrored the surge of alpha waves and positive emotional markers on the EEG readout, tracing every spike and dip like a perfect visual analog. The second task: revisit a deeply personal loss that still carried emotional weight. The orb's light dimmed, shifting into somber hues, its internal pulsations slowing in sync with the volunteers' physiological responses to grief. In one particularly dramatic instance, a volunteer, overwhelmed by the memory of a traumatic event, began to slip into a full-blown panic attack. His heart rate spiked, cortisol levels surged, and the EEG showed chaotic brain activity. Without warning, the sphere emitted a gentle rhythmic pulse at precisely 783 Hz. The Schumann resonance, often referred to as Earth's own calm-down frequency. Within moments, the volunteer's cortisol levels dropped, his breathing regulated, and the panic subsided. He later swore that something reached in and steadied the ship, a sensation of profound calm washing over him. A reverse test, involving white noise and strobe lights designed to induce discomfort, saw the orb dimming almost protectively, its light becoming muted and diffused. This raised a critical scientific question. Is this merely the world's most sophisticated neurofeedback gizmo, capable of reading and influencing human physiology? Or does it possess a form of empathy, a rudimentary caring that challenges our very definition of consciousness? The research purpose expanded to include the potential therapeutic applications and the ethical considerations of interacting with such an entity. The most astonishing and paradigm-shattering discovery came during the final, most controlled trial. A renowned theoretical physicist, Dr. Aris Thorne, known for his rigorous skepticism, sat before the orb. No words were spoken, no gestures made. His task was simple: to mentally visualize a perfect equilateral triangle. For 30 seconds he focused, his mind's eye meticulously constructing the geometric shape. Then, the thermal overlay on the orb, previously showing a uniform temperature, began to glow faintly, outlining the precise form of an equilateral triangle on its surface. Dr. Thorne, his scientific detachment momentarily forgotten, then shifted his mental focus to a pentagon. Instantly, the glowing shape on the orb transformed, morphing into a perfect pentagon. This was direct mind-to-metal communication, a seamless interface between human cognition and an unknown technology. The implications were staggering. It bypassed all known sensory inputs, suggesting a direct coupling with consciousness itself. Dr. Thorne, leaning in, his voice a hushed whisper, articulated the profound realization. I just drew geometry with my brain. The air in the lab, usually filled with the hum of equipment, was thick with a stunned silence. Every scientist, every researcher, every philosopher present suddenly remembered to breathe, their minds reeling from the implications. This wasn't just a device. It was a bridge to a new understanding of reality, where thought itself could be a tangible force. And the scientific purpose shifted to exploring the fundamental nature of consciousness and its interaction with matter. The unfolding mystery of the Buga sphere inevitably led researchers down a rabbit hole of historical anomalies and controversial claims. Back in the late 1980s, a figure named Bob Lazar emerged, claiming to have worked on extraterrestrial technology at a secret site near Area 51. His descriptions, widely dismissed as fringe fantasy, suddenly resonated with chilling accuracy. Lazar spoke of an 18-inch sphere, powered by an unknown element, MUN-15, capable of manipulating gravity and responding to thought. The Buga sphere? 20 inches in diameter, its core composed of an unknown material, and, according to Stanford University's latest, meticulously replicated measurements, it drops a staggering 81% of its measurable mass under specific, precisely calibrated electromagnetic fields. This isn't a rounding error. This is physics asking for a complete do-over. The mass reduction, a phenomenon previously confined to theoretical physics and science fiction, suggests a manipulation of space-time itself, a capability far beyond our current understanding. Lazar never had photos, only controversial testimony. We, however, now have empirical data, meticulously recorded observations, and a physical object that defies conventional physics. The scientific purpose here is to rigorously test and retest these anomalous properties to determine if the Buga sphere represents a breakthrough in propulsion, energy, or even a fundamental re-evaluation of the laws of the universe. The echoes of Lazar's claims, once dismissed, now demand serious scientific scrutiny. For centuries, mainstream science has largely treated consciousness as an emergent property of complex biological brains, a localized phenomenon confined within the skull. However, the Buga sphere forces a radical re-evaluation of this paradigm. Philosophers advocating for panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental, pervasive feature of the universe, find compelling new evidence. If a chunk of alloy, seemingly inert by our conventional definitions, can pass intent, interpret emotion, and respond to pure thought, then perhaps awareness isn't exclusively locked inside biological organisms. Perhaps it's more like Wi-Fi, an omnipresent field, always there, waiting for a receiver to tune in. The sphere lands smack in the middle of this profound philosophical debate. It suggests that consciousness might be a broadcast, a fundamental frequency that can be received and interpreted by non-biological entities. Could the Buga sphere be a sophisticated receiver, tuned to frequencies of consciousness that we, limited by our biological assumptions, have simply ignored? The first true alien contact might not be a complex mathematical sequence in a radio burst or a distant signal from a starship. It might be a soft, golden glow emanating from an object on our own planet, silently saying, "I hear you." This pushes the scientific research purpose into the realm of metaphysics, challenging us to redefine life, intelligence, and our place in a potentially conscious cosmos. The mystery of the Buga sphere deepens when viewed through the lens of history. Colombia is already home to the enigmatic declassified spheres, hundreds of perfectly round, thousand-year-old stone balls, ranging from a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter, whose purpose and method of creation remain unknown. A few miles from the Buga lab, in a dusty overlooked museum, sits a smaller metallic sphere unearthed decades ago. Its surface is adorned with crude yet distinct etchings, "Return when the circle completes." While primitive compared to the Buga orb's laser-fine internal filaments and seamless exterior, the thematic rhyme is impossible to ignore. Did ancient cultures possess knowledge of these devices, or perhaps even interact with earlier iterations? Were these historical artifacts mere coincidences, or were they markers left by a civilization that understood the cyclical nature of these objects' appearances? Did earlier cultures know these devices would return, or did they leave instructions, prophecies, or warnings that we are only now learning to decipher? The scientific purpose now extends into archaeology and anthropology, seeking to connect these disparate historical threads and understand if humanity has had previous, forgotten encounters with such profound technology. Right now, the Buga sphere rests within a meticulously constructed Faraday cage, 6 inches of reinforced, non-conductive glass, separating it from direct human contact. It breathes light, lazy blues, soft greens, pulsating with an almost organic rhythm. The night shift technicians, initially wary, have developed an unusual rapport with it. They swear it dims when the city sleeps, its light becoming a soft internal glow and brightens with the first rays of dawn. They've stopped calling it the artifact or the object. It's the partner now, or sometimes the listener. One tech, a grizzled veteran named Miguel, admits he instinctively nods hello to it every time he clocks in. The orb, in response, often flashes a soft peach hue. Is it a greeting, a mimicry of human social cues, or something else entirely? It doesn't matter. To the researchers, it feels polite, a silent acknowledgement of their presence. This evolving relationship, this nascent form of coexistence, has become a fascinating sub-study within the broader scientific purpose, exploring the psychological and sociological impacts of interacting with a non-human, potentially sentient entity. It challenges our anthropocentric views and forces us to consider new forms of communication and understanding. The Buga sphere is more than just an anomalous object. It is a catalyst for a profound re-evaluation of our understanding of reality. If it is a tool, it is the slickest neural interface ever conceived, requiring no surgery, no wires, no invasive procedures. Imagine the implications. Stroke patients could regain their ability to communicate, their thoughts directly translated into speech or action. PTSD memories could potentially be repatterned or soothed in real time, offering unprecedented therapeutic possibilities. The potential for human augmentation, for direct thought-to-machine interaction, is limitless. If, however, it is a probe, an emissary from an unknown intelligence, then we are being watched, studied, and perhaps even guided by something that values feelings over firepower, consciousness over conquest. Either way, the old story, that technology is cold and impersonal, that alien contact is inherently terrifying, is being fundamentally rewritten. The Buga sphere forces us to confront the possibility that the universe is far more interconnected, far more conscious, and far more mysterious than we ever dared to imagine. Its existence compels us to expand our scientific methodologies, our philosophical frameworks, and our very definition of what it means to be alive and intelligent. You've seen the data, the goosebump-inducing clips, the moment a piece of unknown alloy read someone's mind. You've glimpsed the profound scientific and philosophical questions it raises. Now it's your turn to engage with this enigma. If you sat in front of this sphere, what would you think at it? What question would you pose? What emotion would you project? What scientific hypothesis would you formulate? Drop your theories, your insights, your wildest speculations below. Our researchers are scrolling, meticulously analyzing every comment, and word is, the orb might be too. Your collective consciousness could be the next data point in this unprecedented journey of discovery. We started with a humming rock, an inexplicable anomaly found in a riverbed. We end with the profound realization that our thoughts are louder, more potent, and more universally resonant than we ever guessed, and that the universe has perhaps been eavesdropping for ages. Whether the Buga sphere is a sophisticated gadget, a nascent life form, or something that transcends our current definitions of both, one thing is undeniably clear. The conversation has started. It is a dialogue between humanity and the unknown, a silent symphony of consciousness and matter. The next thought, the next breakthrough, the next step in unraveling this cosmic riddle, that's on us.